Okay, sup guys, it's your boy Dark Raku here with What If Issei Was a Villain, Part 1. Now, I should mention one thing, I didn't really upload anything yesterday. I could've, but it probably would have been for like a couple of minutes, and that's all, because yesterday I was bothered to really go to the store and other stuff, even though I had zero plans to go to the store. But then I got called and be like, gotta go to the store, gotta go get water, and well, there was no water at the store, so I had to go to another store, and almost got lost trying to get to that store. Yeah, I almost went to somewhere else. I was like, what the fuck am I going? Oh wait, let me just search up Google Maps, because I have it on my phone. I'm an idiot, okay? But yeah, not the point. Let me begin into this what if, and yeah. So this is, called What If Issei Was a Villain. Now, I did put a post, and I also, I did put a post of the what ifs of like I might do later on. Like, what if Issei was like Jack Sparrow? I had the thumbnail. I will do that one later. But right now, I really just want to go through the movies back again of watching Pirate of the Caribbean. But yeah. But of course, there was other what ifs, like what if Issei was a villain, reincarnated of Margin Park. What if Issei was the Fox Monarch? And something similar on the first. Mostly, I was just talking about mostly on my first channel, because I did something similar like that. And what's it called? Also, what if Issei has lost all humanity? Cheated on. Mostly that what if right there. I have the storyline. I think I already just put it in the post. Yeah, there was what if Tatsumi was a reincarnation what's it called, Captain Genichimaru. I know no one really chose that. Like, what the fuck? Okay, but then the last one was what if Issei was was the reincarnation of Captain Jack Sparrow. Now, I will be making that one later, but for right now, after this what if, I am going to go into what if Issei was a reincarnation of Byakuya. However you say his last name, okay? But yeah, and I did make the posts and stories about how mostly some of the three what ifs that was mostly mentioned will be highlighted. The Jack Sparrow one was just a whatever, and also the Tatsumi one was a whatever also. I didn't really think of those. Mostly the other three on top was mostly the ones I thought of. But not the point. Let me begin into this what if. Let me shut the fuck up and let me go on, okay? I know I'm rambling on, but yeah. Also, there is a couple of other what ifs I have an idea. One of them is going to be literally called what if Issei had Black Force energy most of the time. Like, I will explain it later. I'm still making this story. But then there's the other one called what if Issei was in a faction called mostly the organization is called FUG, but yeah, FUG. It's from the Tower of God. It's an organization that's mostly an anti against someone, but yeah, I forgot the leader. But what's it called? Pretty much, I'm reading through the Tower of God because I realized that it's actually being uploaded back again after a while. But yeah, I'm actually from the start. I'm rereading it back again. But yeah, I know it's like 500 chapters, but I think I'd be able to read it in a couple of days if I just grind through it. But yeah, but not the point. Let me begin into this what if. Let me shut the fuck up. I know I'm rambling on. And yeah, also before I go on, I did mention that I only have 5 villain leaders into this what if, and I didn't have 6 or 7. 6, I have already an idea. 7, there's like 4 different candidates, and I might just fucking put them on a post for whoever wants to just choose whatever. But yeah, like 3 of them I know, and one of them is basically just a character that I kind of know, not really that much, but yeah. But not the point. Let me begin this as what if, and yeah. Okay, so let me begin. So, Issei, we go into Issei Hiro. Issei Hiro is a boy who goes to a school named Kuo Academy. Of course, there's a problem with Kuo Academy. It used to be an all-girls school, but now it is now a gender kind of school where males and girls can go to the same school. But the problem is it's still dominated by females. But of course, this school isn't just a normal arranged school that has just became a public kind of still private school, but mostly for both genders. There is supernatural beings, mostly three factions entirely, or some of them are hiding because, well, the mostly main faction that's dominating this cool kind of academy, or mostly this academy, is demons. It's the devils. Of course, then there's the other two factions that are hiding because they only go to the school because, yeah, they could have gone to another school, but whatever. Mostly the other two are the fallen angels and, well, angels. But yeah, they don't cause any trouble to the devils and the devils won't attack them. But yeah, unless they want to start a whole war again. But yeah, and bring up the whole, like, leaders of the own faction. But yeah. But that's just not the case of them being, well, there being just those type of factions. There's also the yokai faction, the, what's it called? Well, yokai faction, some other factions, like vampire faction, werewolf faction, and other types of factions are in the school. They're not factions, they're just a couple of, like, mostly a couple of the different beings in the school. Mostly they're either half-blood or full-blood of their factions, but yeah. But not just that. With this rising upon the school, mostly there are still humans in the school, but not, well, there is a lot of them still, but some of them don't know about the supernatural, about the whole three factions and the other factions entirely. Except for one person. Actually, this one person's hidden right now, showing no signs of actually interacting with any of the other factions. That's just because he has his own ideas. But that's not where we begin. We begin into a white room where, well, two people kind of woke up. These two people kind of, one has brown hair. Is wearing the cool academy uniform, wearing a red shirt underneath, and yeah, of course he has brown hair, brown eyes, brownish golden eyes, and of course he is kind of like, well, underneath him, mostly underneath his red shirt, he has kind of a necklace, but no one really does see it most of the time. This is where, well, next to him is a boy with kind of no hair. He's bald, has both his eyes closed. Of course, opens them once to show off his, like, dark black eyes. Mostly his, like, jet black eyes. And this is where it closes them back again. Is wearing also the, what's it called, uniform of, well, Kuo. And is another male. But yeah, this is where, well, they look around and of course they notice, well, other people. Now, other people that are not human entirely. There is the red hair Oni-san, who is named Rias Grammary, a devil. Sona Sifri, or Sona Satori, who is, well, her real name is Sona Sifri, but goes with the alias. And of course, is where, well, she's a council president, and she's also one of the Oni-sans, and a devil at the same time. This is where, well, then there's Akano Hinjuma, a devil who is supposed to be the queen of Rias Grammary. Then there's, what's it called, Sabaki, yeah. Sabaki? Yeah, Sabaki. Not Sabaki. Sabaki, who is the queen of, well, Sona's, well, Parage. And she's also a devil, but they're mostly incarnation devils. That's not all that there's only devils. There's also, well, two of the Kendo class girls. Mostly, they are human, but they have strange powers. Not entirely, but they do kind of have possessors of sacred gears. Then there is also, well, someone that they used to consider a friend. A boy with kind of black jet hair, kind of like spiked up a little bit around his, like, head. Used to have glasses, but now showing off his crystallized blue eyes. And of course, is wearing the Kowa Academy uniform. Now, of course, is where, well, they're not really wearing the academy uniform. Yeah, academy uniform. They're wearing kind of casual clothes, but this person's wearing a black shirt and some black pants. But yeah, Issei, he was wearing, well, mostly just casual, a red shirt, a red jacket, or, well, a red kind of coat with kind of these black pants and black shoes. But don't worry about that. Same with what's it called? Well, Matsui was wearing, what's it called, a kind of clothing, kind of being a homeless a little bit, and kind of having a hat a little, but yeah, that was kind of covering his eyes, but yeah, even though he had them already closed. This is where, mostly that, and also, well, mostly Sona, Rias, and Akano, and also Sabaki were wearing casual clothes. Well, except for Rias, she was actually wearing the academy, mostly the academy uniform. But yeah, this is where, well, the boy who is named Murahama used to be friends with both Issei and, well, Matsui. This is where next to him was a girl with kind of white hair, goldenish eyes, and of course, this is where, well, she had a familiar scent to her, kind of being a devil, human, and also having a powerful sacred gear. Her name is Valerie, yeah, Valerie Lucifish, but yeah, or mostly Lucifer, but yeah, she's a descendant of Lucifer, but she's half human and other stuff, but yeah. But of course, behind those two are mostly, well, of course I mentioned about the two Kendo girls. They are kind of, well, one is wearing kind of like a Kendo uniform outfit, while the other one's wearing a casual outfit. Mostly the brown hair girl is wearing like the outfit of Kendo, while mostly pinkish hair girl named Catherine is wearing kind of casual clothes. Now, of course, where behind both of them is a girl with kind of messy brown hair and of course glasses and having hazelish eyes. Her name is Aika, and of course she is wearing this very, very kind of how should I say? Think of it like how Akano wears that whole battle outfit or whatever it's called, the temple whatever. Yeah, Aika is actually wearing that. But of course, it's much more tighter and actually kind of showing a little bit of her kind of like mostly bust a little bit. But yeah, this is where, well, she's confused in how she got here also. This is where, well, she sees what's it called, Catherine and Mariyama right in front of her. But yeah, there's a couple other people. One girl with kind of whitish hair. Well, whitish, silverish hair with reddish eyes. And of course, she's wearing a black kind of outfit. Similar to, well, just a black outfit to cover up her skin. Her skin is very palish white. This is where next to her is a girl with kind of silverish, well, not silverish hair. Mostly snowy white hair. Of course, silverish eyes. And of course, she's wearing like this kind of battle outfit a little bit. Just because she was actually training, but yeah, she has two swords right next to her. While the girl with silver white hair doesn't really have a sword. Well, she does have a sword next to her, but yeah, it's in sheath and it does have a very powerful kind of bloody aura to it. But yeah, the other one has a very powerful silver snow aura to it. But yeah, the two swords. Now, of course, this is where, well, one is named Allison and the other one is named, well, the other one is named Lapland. Don't worry about it. But of course, this is where, well, then there is, what's it called, mostly two auras that were supposed to be there, but mostly they had a kind of exorcist aura towards him. But one had blue hair, kind of a green highlight to her hair, and of course having yellow eyes. Wearing a cloak with her, and of course, she had a white silver cross on her, kind of like near her chest. This is where her name is Zenovia. Of course, she was actually just going to Kuo Academy to find about the missing information about the Excaliburs, because Excaliburs kind of went missing a while ago. But next to her is not Irina, but someone else. Someone that has kind of this kind of, lightish, blondish, kind of rosy kind of hair a little bit. But of course, she kind of has red eyes. She's wearing similar outfit towards Zenobia. But of course, I didn't mention she got red eyes. But her name is Rappy. She has a kind of gun with her. And of course, this gun does shoot out holy bullets. But yeah, it's but they are two exorcists that are just waking up and confused and why they're seeing devils, fallen angels. Well, yeah, I forgot about the fallen angels. Yeah, there's fallen angels there that, one has blondish, kind of palish, rosé hair with palish blue eyes, and the other one has black hair with kind of purplish violet eyes. This is where, one is named Rainer and the other one is named Junko, but yeah. This is where, they're just confused, the exorcists and even the fallen angels, why they're even here. Now, they realize one thing. Well, they haven't realized one thing. There's a bunch of their species here, but one thing, they're not connected with each other at all. Actually, specifically, some of them hate each other already. but they all hate two people entirely. The two perverts. I mean, there's the only connection there, but yeah. Of course, where the two perverts aren't seem to be paying attention towards them exactly. Well, I mean, they took one glance at them, but they really didn't care. This is where, well, Moriyama kind of looks confused, and this is where Catherine was actually about to scream at the two perverts, just to blame it on someone. But this is where mostly a couple of figures started appearing out of nowhere. Mostly it was thin, smoky, kind of like, mostly like a smoke screen appear, and then like people appear. A guy with blue hair, and of course wearing a blue kind of shirt, long sleeve, with a white kind of, coat, and black pants, I guess. I don't remember how he looks like. But of course had dark blue eyes, had a spear next to him that had a very powerful aura that was mostly considered to be a sacred gear, but not just any normal sacred gear. Mostly, what's it called? Rainier, Rias, and a couple other people that were in the supernatural, except for, mostly Issei had a conclusion in what that was, but I should mention never mind. But mostly, this person had the longitis, the true longitis, the sacred gear, mostly that was the one to use to kill Jesus Christ himself. Well, I forgot the longitis name, but yeah. Of course, this is where, I think it's just called true longitis. This is where, he is kind of smiling at the mostly couple of factions that he managed to grab off something, but yeah, don't worry about that. This is where, then there's behind him a girl with kind of orangey hair, or mostly not orange hair, blondish hair. Has blondish hair and blue eyes, and this girl, she had a very interesting aura to her, and of course, swords was building up behind her to make a dragon, and mostly like a dragon made out of swords. Of course, is where next to the blue hair guy is two other people, mostly on the left side of him, a kind of guy with kind of grayish hair. And of course, mostly grayish hair and orange eyes, and had also a powerful sacred gear he had. But behind that guy was a very tall, big guy that had like longish, dark gray hair, and of course his skin was darkish a little bit. But of course his eyes were the color of, he had brownish eyes, and yeah, he had a very powerful aura towards him, like if he was a descendant of someone. Then after that, there was another guy that was mostly seems to be like next to the blue hair guy, just came out of nowhere, mostly out of a magic circle. And this guy has brownish hair, glasses, and kind of brownish eyes. This is where his hair is kind of spiked up, and this is where he kind of whispers into the guy with blue hair, and about mostly the longitis, or mostly the sacred gears that mostly some of them has, the humans that they manage to kind of get. This is where, the blue hair decides to start speaking. He says, "Hello there, everyone. My name is mostly Cao Cao, or Cao Cao. I don't remember. Mostly, I think it was Cao Cao. Something like that. This is where, he says that he's the hero faction leader. And this is where all of them wind their eyes, or most of the humans don't understand, except for mostly Eyes, who just narrowed his eyes. And this is where Matsui, who even his eyes is covered up, he narrowed them also. This is where, Cao Cao explains and why they're all here. First of all, he didn't really need to capture some of the devils and other things, but they're here. Who really cares? This is where, he points to the two girls, who is named Moriyama and Catherine, to come up, and this is where they kind of don't want to go up there. But of course, this is where, he says to either come up here or he will force them. This is where all of them get on guard. But this is where Cao Cao kind of waves his hand saying, "Oh, I should also mention one thing. This place is kind of an anti-magic feel for you factions. You can barely use your magic. Already try that. Come on, use it." This is where, Ria's tried to activate her magic and she can't. This is where some of them can't even use their magic. They have swords, but they don't know if they can use their magic and swords at the same time. They mostly train in their magic most of the time. This is where, Catherine and Moriyama are kind of walking, because mostly they can't really do anything, because they also kind of use sacred gears, and they can barely even activate their sacred gear exactly. But of course they're walking towards mostly Cao Cao, and this is where Cao Cao then points at the two males, who are supposed to be the two perverts, and asks for Issei and Masu to come up forward also, because they have sacred gears. This is where, Issei decides to play dumb with him, and says, "What is the sacred gear exactly?" This is where Cao Cao says, "Oh, right. It seems you're a human that hasn't been exposed by the supernatural. That's going to be a problem there. Let me explain there. This is where, before the girls can actually keep walking, but yes, slowly. This is where Cao Cao explains towards Issei about the sacred gears and the factions and other things. This is where Issei understands, saying, how are you so sure if I have a sacred gear? What happens if I'm just a normal human? Cao Cao says, well, if you're just a normal human that doesn't have a sacred gear, but has just powerful magic reserves, I guess I can just kill you off or you can join me. Issei chuckles to himself. A little smirk actually appears, and of course in his head he's blown off laughing just because this guy's an idiot. This is where, well, Issei then looks at Cao Cao, and this is where Issei says, what happens if I just refuse to join? What are you gonna do, attack me? Cao Cao says, well, I mean, that's what I just said, so I guess, yes. This is where, well, Cao Cao snaps his fingers and says, Hercules, go. Hercules rushes at Issei with blinding speed, and this is where, well, everyone wind their eyes, and how Issei just kind of added kind of fuel into his death. This is where, well, when Hercules was about to punch Issei, so close to Issei's face, Issei looks at this with an uncaring look, an uncaring expression, and anything. He just sees the fist about to connect to his face. And it was so close, very inches off. It was just rushing towards him, and he just looked at it with just uncaring most of the time. Issei was just looking at this with such a calm expression until something glowed like in his chest, like something kind of golden a little bit. And this is where Issei right now has his hand right in front of him, and this is where he then just faces down. He just pushes his hand down like this right here. Right here, like this is how Margin Park is doing. But yeah, this is where, well, mostly when Hercules is about to hit him, gravity, like something like a golden kind of cross appears on top of Hercules and literally smash him down to the ground in an instant. Without a care in the world. Issei looks at this and says, huh? Were you supposed to do something? Nah, sorry about that, but no, not happening. Issei chuckles to himself. This is where Hercules is trying to get up, but gravity is smashing upon him. He can barely get up. He says, what is this? This is where, well, Cao Cao looks surprised and says, what the hell is that? This is where, well, Issei said, oh, this is none of your fucking concern. Because, besides, if I even tell you, you're going to be dead anyway. Hero faction scum. This is where Issei said it so coldly and so darkly at the same time. This is where, well, Cao Cao gets on guard, right now using his laryngitis right in front of him. This is where, well, he doesn't understand why, but he has a strange feeling that Issei isn't normal. This is where Issei says, Matsui, eliminate those sword users right now. This is where Matsui says, fine. Let me get my drunk on first. He pulls out a white kind of circular vase, mostly like this vase, opens it, and starts drinking it and saying, that's some good-ass whiskey. This is where everyone heard the fucking name whiskey, and this is where all of them say, is he fucking drinking? This is where, well, let's see, so good. This is where, well, he puts it back into his, like, green coat, hides it into a pocket and other stuff, and this is where Matsui decides to kind of get on guard. This is where he rushes at what's called the swordsman. This is where one of the silver hair guy and the girl with kind of the sword dragon right now looks at Matsui, right now thinking that he's stupid without having any swords, and this is where Matsui says, national sacred treasures. This is where, well, he said that multiple swords, or not mean multiple swords, two swords appear. This is where he kind of calls upon their names and what he wanted to get, but yeah. So the two sacred kind of, well, not sacred treasures, mostly the national treasure that he activates was one called Chao, this being the small blue katana, and this one over here. That kind of looks like Bleach, oh, well, mostly not Bleach. Mostly looks like Ichigo's kind of Zanpakuto, the same data, but yeah, that's what it's called. So, of course, this is where, well, summons out those two swords, a small, short blue katana that appear in his left hand, and in his right hand pulls out this, like, huge, like, knife sword that kind of looks like Ichigo Zanpakuto. This is where, well, while Matsui is rushing towards him, they wind their eyes on how he even activate them. He can't use magic, but he can always summon out any national treasures because they cannot be blocked. Because that is what was it called Matsui can do. This is where, well, Matsui right now rushes towards the two swordsmen, and this is where he grins, saying, Well, it seems that you guys have already lost since you guys have fought against me. I am the vice captain of the villain ordination, right-hand man of Issei Park. Now die. This is where, well, he appeared right in front of them, but disappeared behind them. Well, disappear right in front of them and appear behind both of them. This is where both of them were in their eyes, and this is where they had multiple cuts. This is where, well, he has two swords that are right now dripping with blood, right now in front of him. This is where, well, Cao Cao won his eyes, seeing two of his members just easily get defeated. This is where, well, he then asked George, a guy with brown hair and glasses, to actually go fight against, well, mostly the guy who has a green hat. This is where, well, George understood and decided to try to fight him. But before even going towards was a call, well, mostly Matsui, something actually almost smashes upon him. A spear literally almost smashes upon him. He jumps back, and he got a little cut right now appearing on his cheek. This is where Cao Cao turns his side towards the, well, mostly to his side. He saw Issei kind of throwing a spear, and of course, where Issei say, I almost hit you. Nah, that's too fucking bad. I would have loved to kill such a pathetic fucking hero like you. Issei right now has this evilish grin on his face, while, well, mostly George seems surprised and right now kind of unnerved with Issei. This is where Cao Cao right now has his spear, but he's still seeing what's it called Hercules on the ground. This is where Hercules is trying to get up and saying, I won't lose. I am the descendant, the true hero of Hercules. I will not lose to... Shut up. This is where, well, Issei right now stabs his fingers into multiple points into, well, what's it called? Hercules, right now making his body paralyzed. Hercules cannot move. What is this? This is where, well, Issei says, this is your death. Issei stomps his, like, shoe into his fucking head, and mostly stomps onto Hercules' head. Without a care in the world, he didn't care 1 second bit at all. This is where he walks over Hercules' body like he just fucking used him as a fucking rug and clean off his shoes. This is where everyone is seeing this battle. This is where Issei, right now, he's taking off, what's it called, something off his eyes, showing us to be black eyes instead of being goldenish black, well, mostly golden eyes, goldenish brown. But they're actually not black eyes, they're kind of a dark golden brown color. So yeah, that's what it looks like. That's his true eye color. This is where Issei, he starts kind of moving his hair up and down, kind of getting it to be the right kind of perfectly shaped that he wanted to. He has two hair like lines on his top of his hair, kind of pointing up. And of course, they're like demon. They look like demon horns, but they're not. That's mostly how Martian Park kind of has his hair most of the time. But yeah, this is what, well, Issei, he is just looking at what's it called, Cao Cao. He then pulls out a necklace out of his kind of chest, and of course showing off to be a golden cross. And this is where, well, Issei says, it seems that you're going to have to fight me, Cao Cao. And the reason why I already know your name, and why I already know about the hero faction, is because, didn't you heroes already fought against one of my own? Well, you fought against a leader. A villain leader, I'm supposed to say. This is where, well, Cao Cao won his eyes. The only people that should know about the villain leader that they fought against a while ago was mostly the Chaos, well, mostly, yeah, not Chaos Brigade, the Chaos Brigade, and also mostly the hero faction. No one else should find out, not even this human. But of course, he seems surprised. Cao Cao right now has his eyes kind of narrow at Issei and says, what do you mean? Huh? We didn't get attacked by anyone. Especially that of a villain. We defeated that villain. Issei couldn't contain his laughter anymore and just died after hearing that. You're saying you defeated him? He wiped out an entire, well, mostly almost an entire city of your faction. I suggest you shut the hell up. I should also mention that that villain that you fought was a leader. A leader from the villain faction. The villain faction do not like, well, we really don't like your kind at all. You heroes, you pathetic, insolent heroes are nothing but just insolent because you dare join a faction that's completely made with other of the factions. You're so pathetic, I can't believe. This is where, well, Cao narrowed his eyes right now looking at Issei. He's right now trying to calculate in what Issei's talking about. He's talking about the villain faction, and Cao, well, mostly Cao Cao does know about the villain faction from that one person that he fought. Someone that can literally touch the ground and destroy everything in an instant. A guy with kind of bluish white hair. Seems that it was turning white a little bit when he was overusing his power. But of course, his skin was kind of a little bit, a little bit kind of paler, but kind of dry also. This guy had red eyes and had a hand for a face until he just decayed and tried to kill Caos because Caos literally destroyed some of the other hands that he had around his body. Caos is trying to remember what the guy's name was again. He's trying to remember. This is where he says, "What are you talking about?" "Oh, let me explain. The person that you fought was a guy." This is where he explains already towards what Caos already knows about the description of the person that he fought. His name is Shigaraki Tomura, one of the kind of 7 leaders of, well, the villain society, or the villain faction society. You see here, he is the 5th rank you fought. And not gonna lie, you did a pretty good job in actually trying to, well, mostly get some people out before you actually died. This is where, well, Cal's over his eyes. He remembered the person's name, and now that this person knows about the person's name, but he says he's a 5th rank, meaning whatever this person Issei is exactly, he might be stronger or weaker than, well, mostly Shigaraki Tomura. This is where, well, Issei is chuckling to himself. This is where, well, Issei says, but that's not the point. There is 7 of us, 7 leaders. The reason why there's 7 leaders is because we don't really get along with each other. You see here, villains really never, ever do get along with each other. We play nice, just for a little show, but we all hate each other. All of us. At once. None of us likes each other, so yeah. This is where, well, Cal says, "Why are you telling me this?" Because you fought against Shigaraki Tomura, and he's a 5th rank. What do you think I am? Guess the number that I am. And I won't kill you in an instant. I won't even kill your friends. They're barely alive, but I won't murder them. This is where, well, Cal's narrows his eyes. And this is where Cal says, damn it, this guy's kind of arrogant. He's trying to think in his head, trying to wonder, what number is Issei? This is where Issei says, also, please refrain from calling me Hyodo. Call me Park. The name is Issei Park. Don't worry about that. Well, you can also call me, instead of calling me Issei, you can call me Majin Park, or Mabone Park. Whatever you like to call me, it doesn't really matter. Now, name my rank and my title. Or, well, just name my rank. Because we villains haven't really shown each other, well, mostly haven't really shown us really much to the public, so he would never know my title exactly. So come on, name my rank. If it's the right number, I won't murder everyone that's in your hero faction. Issei is grinning like a madman right now, looking at what's it called, Caos. This is where Caos narrows his eyes, and this is where, well, Caos is looking at Issei, trying to calculate in which number it will be. This is where, well, Caos right now narrows it for what's it called. He kind of thinks that mostly Issei is either number 4 or what's it called, number 4, 6, or 7. He doesn't actually expect Issei to be either number 1, 2, or 3. This is where, well, Cal decides to go for number 4. And this is where Cal says, you're number 4, aren't you? This is where Issei looks at him, narrows his eyes, then kind of frowns a little bit, and kind of puts his hand over his mouth. And right now, this is where Matsui, he's right now having a sword into, what was it called, George? George couldn't even fight against, well, Matsui, because Matsui was much more stronger than him, and actually. In every regard, there's other heroes that are actually trying to appear. Right now, getting through a portal, and this is where Matsui sees this and say, bleh, pathetic as hell. This is where, well, Matsui is right now on a phone call, even though he already has a sword into George. This is where, well, he's calling someone, but yeah. This is where he looks at, what's it called? Well, mostly, cows. Of course, this is where Catherine and, what's it called, Mariyama are just waiting. They're actually standing near Issei, but not that near. They're a little bit far. This is where Issei just looks at him. And this is where Issei just bursts out in laughter. Are you such a pathetic idiot? You could have said any other number, but this is actually much priceless. This is where Issei is just dying in laughter. He couldn't contain it no more. This is where Masui's chuckling a little bit. And this is where, well, George asked him a question before. What's it called? Issei burst in laughter. Why are you laughing? This is where Matsui narrows his eyes down and says, your leader is really an idiot. You think that he's number 4. You see here, I even said I was a right-hand man. The second mostly vice captain of what's it called? The villain organization. Second. Do you not understand? That means 2. That means Issei is in number 4, but number 2. This is where, well, George widened his eyes, and now hearing Issei burst out in laughter, making, well, mostly George even much more afraid. What's it called? Cao's brigade did had a very struggling time with what's it called Shigaraki. He was number 5, and yet he gave such a very powerful struggle against the hero faction that they can barely even defeat him. But yeah, let alone with what's it called Shigaraki and his vice captain. Vice captain was a guy with black hair and dark blue eyes, of course sending blue flames into them. Right now, annihilating a good portion of their hero kind of army, but yeah, hero army, but yeah. This is where, well, George is right now unnerved also. He's also unnerved from the fact that Shigaraki wasn't using a sacred gear, or even magic. Same with Dobby, they were not using a, what's it called, sacred gear or magic. This is where, well, the hero faction concluded that they can't use magic or a sacred gear, but this is where, well, Dobby did prove them wrong because he did activate a small bit of his sacred gear just to boost a little bit of his power, but of course didn't dissummon it. But yeah, making the Chaos Brigade realize that Chaos Brigade and Hero faction realized that the villain faction is a much more terrifying kind of power. Now, of course, they thought Shigaraki was the only villain in the entire what's called villain faction, but that's not the case. Now meeting what's it called Issei Park, who is supposedly number 2 of this the second rank of this villain society or villain faction society. Then it means that there's more. Well, he also did mention that there's 7 leaders entirely, meaning that there's more leaders, more power, more destructive power entirely, because he managed to defeat Hercules. And with Matsui mentioned defeat that one sword girl user, the sword guy, and even George. Now of course George is terrified now. This is where, well, he stops chuckling. It just stops. This is where he snorted a little bit like a pig, and this is where, well, he says, sorry. sorry. Oh, that's so funny to me. Did Matsui not give you a hint? Matsui said he is the second rank captain, or mostly second rank vice captain, the right hand of mine. You not see that second means 2? And you should conclude that 2 means that I'm the second rank of the villain society. This is where Cao's won his eyes. This is where he right now just realized that he fucked up. Issei is definitely a number 2. He concluded that 1, 2, and 3 were out of the question, but he never expected that Issei was a number 2. This is where he says, you're such an idiot. Oh, I can't wait to wipe out your freaking society. I can't really wait. I never did bet with the others, but I should definitely make a bet. Matsui, give them a phone call. I'm already on it. You really want to win that much money, don't you? Of course I do. I'm going to make sure that all of those fuckers pay me. This is where Issei is chuckling with such an evilish maniacal grin on his face. This is where, well, mostly Cao's right now narrow his eyes. And this is where he does have a spear with him. But this is where, well, he then kind of, this is where, well, mostly, Cao Cao, right now, widen his eyes. This is where he does have the Longitis Sacred Gear, true Longitis. But this is where he pulls out a red spear out of a magic circle. And this red spear is none other from a kind of what it kind of looks like. Think of it from, Fade. Yeah, Fade. I don't remember which Fade that I watched one time. But his name was Lancer again. He had a red spear. I just remember that guy because he was kind of cool in my eyes because of the red fucking spear. And he had blue hair, but yeah. So of course he pulls out this spear, and it's none other from another pantheon that he just stole this spear. But don't worry about that. I mostly had the idea to kind of add this spear was because of the fact that I watched a what if that's called What if Issei had the cards or throne cards, or what was it called again? What if Issei had the throne of heroes? That's what I remember watching. But yeah, this is what, well, he kind of is right now using both these spears and looking at Issei with their eyes, thinking that he might be able to defeat Issei. Issei has a very relaxed toned body, and of course doesn't seem to have any of his muscles tense. Well, what I always call Cao does have his muscles tense really bad. But this is where something happens. Two people appear from a magic portal. Mostly someone appears with a vortex. Two people. That's where, well, someone appear right next to Issei. And this is where, well not Issei, mostly near Matsui. This is where, well, Matsui says, oh hey guys, it's been a while. Toby, Madara. This is where, well, Matsui kind of still drinking. This is where Madara scoffs and says, so I guess I'll be facing against a hero faction army, am I not? This is where a bunch of heroes are appearing throughout the smoke den, and this is where George sees Madara, and this is where he has a very scary feeling towards Madara. Madara does have a very scary feeling to him. This is where Toby has, well, his orange mask, and of course have one red eye. And this is where, well, he's narrowing his eyes towards George, and this is where he pokes George in the face. And this is where Matsui is still on top of him with the sword. This is where Matsui chuckles and says, that guy, I think he was supposed to be the vice captain of the hero faction, and he was absolute nothing to me. This is where Toby chuckles darkly and says, you serious? Are you saying that the hero faction this pathetic that it only took the second rank vice captain of the, what's it called, villain society to really take out this guy? You can't be serious. I was hoping for a battle, not some fucking show to watch. This is where, well, Matsui chuckles and says, well, there's a bunch of idiots over there that Madara can fight. Madara scoffs and says, where's the leader? Oh, well, they're already fighting against, well, Issei. Sorry, Madara, I think it's already too late for you to fight. Madara scoffs in an ending. Right now, I'm just getting annoyed. Fine, I'll fight against these pathetic weaklings. But if Issei loses to that fucking little bitch, that little hero bitch, then I'm the one to fight him next. Go ahead, third rank. Go ahead. This is where Matsui doesn't really care. This is where, well, right now Toby is still kind of poking the hero, kind of like vice captain named George. And this is where he grabs his glasses and crushes in his hand. This is where George right now gets scared of, well, how Toby is really glaring his red eye into his, like, what's it called, two eyes. You can't be serious. Toby really said again. This guy is so pathetic that I feel like he already pissed his pants. Oh, he already did like a while ago. You can't be fucking serious. Toby looks up at Matsui. Am I really joking to you? I never joke against you. Besides, I don't really care what you do next. You can either watch a show, you can go help Madara. This is where Toby scoffs and says, why would I ever help him? He got this. This is where, well, two people appear, well, next to them. Mostly someone with grayish, kind of like bluish grayish hair. And of course, this is where, well, he has red eyes. And this is where he's wearing a kind of black suit for a second. This is where, well, he looks towards what they call Toby and Matsui. And this is where someone with kind of black coat and of course having wounds, purple wounds around his body, somewhat blue eyes, like lightish blue dark eyes. And of course black hair. This is where, well, mostly they turn around. And of course, they also see a black kind of dark smoky figure with yellow eyes. This is where, well, Matsui says, oh hey there, Shigaraki, Tomura, and Dabi. So what are you two doing here? And also, Kataguri, or whatever his name again. This is where, well, Shigaraki right now scratches his neck and says, I heard that what's it called, the hero faction was here. So where's that little shit, that blue hair, where's he at? You mean with the guy with the spear? Yes. That little shit ran away from me. I'm annoyed. Well, sorry to tell you, Shigaraki, Matsui said. Sorry to tell you, but my captain, or should I say my leader, is already fighting against that guy. You're going to either have to wait, Or, well, you're gonna have to get in the line because Madara already called dibs that he will fight him after, well, Issei kicked his ass or whatever. This is where, well, Shigaraki scoffs and just says, "Oh, so annoying." This is where Dobby says, "Where's the losers that can burn? Also, who's that guy you're standing on?" Oh, this is where Matsu gets off with the guy. Still has his sword and actually stabbing into the guy deeper, screaming a little bit. The guy kind of right now screams a little bit in pain. This is where Dobby right now takes a good look, and this is where Dobby says, "Who exactly is this guy?" This is where, well, Matsui says, "This guy is supposed to be the vice captain of the hero faction. He wasn't much to me. I literally fucking kicked his ass in an instant." This guy also pisses pants. I can't tell if he is the fucking vice captain. This is where, well, Dobby says, Hey, Matsui, did you see any burns on his, like, arms? No, why? This is where Dobby right now rips off the guy's kind of, like, long sleeve and sees some burns, and this is where Dobby says, if it isn't the little shit that hit me once in the back of the head and ran like a little bitch when I burn your arms. This is where the guy right now winds his eyes and realizes this is Dobby, the vice captain of what we call mostly Shigaraki. This is where Dobby says, "Now tell me, you little shit, why shouldn't I burn you into a crispy knife fucking cooked dead meat? Well, mostly cooked chicken." This is where, well, guy right now nervously pisses his pants again. This is where Matsu's chuckling again. This is where Toby's just scoffs and says, "This guy's so damn scared and such a damn pussy that he literally pissed his pants again." This is where, well, Matsui can't just stop chuckling and seeing the sight. He really can't stop it. This is where, well, we go into Shigaraki deciding to fight against some of the hero losers that he has to fight with Madara. Even though they don't like each other, they literally fight in sync pretty easily, but they hate each other. They're scoffing most of the time when they get close to each other. But yeah, Madara is easily beating the shit out of them with just kicks, punches, and not even using his special weapon that's called the Gunbai. Shigaraki is literally doing the exact same, not even using some of his abilities that he can actually use, like decaying or any of that. He instead just easily kicking the shit out of them also. He might grab some of the mage users and use his decay just because they've been pissing him off for a while. But yeah, Madara kind of just uses the fireball from his mouth to annihilate the mage users. But yeah, we go into Issei right now laughing and saying, "Bring it on, Cao Cao," or should I say, "Bitch." This is where, well, right now Cao kind of nervous eyes rushing at Issei. This is where Issei right now grins and says, "Bring it on, you weakling." This is where he activates borrow power again, making a cross appear right in front of him. And when Cao Cao stabs it with both the spears into the cross, he can't even break through. He's like trying to push back into it. This is where Issei is right now standing there with an uncaring look, and this is where he scoffs and says, "You can't be serious. Is it really just true that you're so pathetic?" This is where Issei disactivate the cross, mostly cross avatar, or mostly the cross kind of thing that was in front of him, mostly a shield. And this is where when he disactivate, this is where Chaos was about to jump back, but this is where Issei grabs him from the collar and mostly pulled him towards him and side kicked him in the head, right now pushing him down to the ground in an instant. Issei says, "You're so pathetic. Please, for the love of God, don't tell me this is all you can do. Please don't tell me this is all you can do, because I will be so ashamed of your ability." Well, whatever. This is where, well, Cal gets back up, and this is where, well, he then gets kneed in the stomach so hard that he couldn't even, like, well, dodge or even be able to stop the force. This is where he caught the little bit of blood. This is where, well, Issei then grabs him from the hair and punches him right in the face, right now pushing him backwards. This is where, well, Cao Cao is trying to get up, and this is where he's getting angrier and thinking of, using the chant of the true longitis to fight against, well, what's it called? Issei. This is where Issei snap his fingers, and this is where multiple spears appear underneath, what's it called? Cao Cao, that he couldn't dodge, and this is where they're stabbed all upon his arms, legs, and body. This is where the spears disappear after a while, and this is where he's coughing up blood, mostly Cao Cao. This is where Issei says, "Please tell me you're not this pathetic." Oh God. I'm literally fighting against a weakling. I feel bad. Actually, I don't. Since you're a hero, scum, I don't. Issei kicks him right in the face, right now sliding his ass down, what's it called, the white floor. This is where, well, like if he was like some kind of soccer ball or even a puck. This is where, well, Issei doesn't care. Issei says, I got some hero blood on my shoes. Yeah, I'll clean that later. I'll clean it after I use your body like a fucking rag. This is where Issei is cackling like a madman. This is where everyone is watching this, and of course, they're just seeing the Cao's leader, mostly the heroes, well, not Cao's, mostly the hero leader kind of get his ass beat by a second rank of the villain faction. This is where Rias, she did have plans for Issei if he did have a sacred gear, but now seeing this is kind of torture for her. This is where Sona is actually kind of getting, how should I say, well, three people are kind of getting turned on a little bit after seeing this because of how Issei is either dressed very formally and beating the shit out of this guy, and there's also some kind of emotions that Cao is actually fearing, or mostly Cao Cao, and then there's what's it called, Dad who actually truly loves Issei, but don't worry about that. Those are what's it called, Sona, Junko, and what's it called, Aika. But yeah. This is where they're seeing this and they're kind of literally turned on a little bit. This is where, well, Issei is kind of looking at how, what's it called, mostly Cao Cao is trying to get up. Cao Cao still has both of his spears. One of them is raiding off this bunch of bloodlust. Just smashing into Issei, but Issei doesn't care about the bloodlust. And this is where, well, he's walking so calmly towards, what's it called, Cao Cao, that is actually unnerving Cao Cao. This is where, well, he then uses his other Longshide as a spear and decides to start enchanting the name. And this is where, well, he says, die! This is where, well, Issei looks at this, and this is where Issei says, first letter. This is where, well, a pillar appears behind Issei, and this is what a small little dagger that's kind of made out of bronze, it looks like, but it just flies around Issei. Right now, rushes towards Cao Cao in an instant. Cao Cao, since the true Longshide is kind of like, whole kind of, you know how when Juggernaut you have to kind of do a speech or whatever the hell it is, like a poem or whatever. Mostly Cao Cao activated the true Longitis is showing off the going like very bright golden light and he's trying to send straight towards Issei. And Issei, he's very calm walking. The little dagger, golden spear, whatever, decides to rush towards, it's mostly made out of bronze, rush right in front of Issei and going straight, piercing through even the light of golden light from the true Longitis, and he just rips through it, destroying the sacred gear in an instant, but also cutting, well, mostly just making a huge hole appear on, what's it called, well, not even a huge hole, like ripping off, what's it called, Cao Cao's kind of like arm off in an instant. This is where Cao Cao, not left arm, right arm, he winds his eyes, he screams in pain. This is where, Mom, he wasn't expecting his sacred gear. No, his sacred gear, the most powerful chant that there ever is, to literally just get one-shotted. Issei is walking towards him so calmly. This is where the little dagger appears right around Issei. The little kind of spearhead it kind of looks like, but yeah. This is where, well, Issei kind of grabs it, and right now holding his hand, decides to toss it up and down before getting close to, what's it called, Cao Cao. Cao Cao right now uses the red spear and rushes towards Issei in an instant, trying to stab upon him. This is where Issei grabs the spear with his left hand in an instant. This is where Issei says, explode. This is where, well, he doesn't say explode, but mostly he just grabs a spear pretty easily, and this is where is that he can feel the shaking, trembling from what's it called, Cao Cao, just trying to stab upon him with anger and other things. That's where Issei takes the spear out of Cao Cao's arm. This is where before kicking it and destroying some of the bones in Cao Cao's like left arm, Cao Cao screams in pain. Right now, can't do anything. Issei kind of looks at him and says, "You're so pathetic. You're so pathetic indeed. I can't wait to kill you. I would have loved to kill you. I really would love to kill you." This is where Issei has such a very sinister grin on his face. This is where, well, he says this, but I can't kill you. I can't kill you. You know what? Because if I kill you, then I can't make you feel despair. And all heroes should learn how to feel despair. Issei grabs him from the collar with his right hand. He tosses up mostly the kind of spearhead thing, up, the dagger, up, And this is where it's right now floating up, and this is where he grabs Cao Cao from the kind of collar, pull him up. This is where mostly Cao Cao struggles to fight against Issei. He can't. Issei is much more stronger, powerful, and intelligent. This is where, well, Issei said, I really need you to feel as much despair as ever. Because you know why? You're just a loser. All heroes are losers. This is where Issei mostly pushes his head towards the side, and of course doesn't crack it, but makes him look at his army. The army that came to actually help him literally get annihilated, and two people are just sitting there on top of many bodies. Either some of them are dust, turn to ashes, and other things. This is where he sees two people just sitting there. This is where they're talking, scoffing, and just saying, fuck you. They're screaming at Issei. This is where, well, one has kind of bluish and kind of like whitish hair a little bit. And of course having red eyes and just scoffing at Issei. And this is where the other one has long black hair, spiky, and having, well, his eyes be, well, what's it called, jet black, like onyx black, and just narrowing them and scoffing at Issei. This is where, well, Issei is chuckling and just waving at them, saying, hey there, Madara Uchiha third rank. This is where he whispers that into Cao Cao's kind of like ear. Well, not whisper, says it kind of loud enough for Cao Cao to understand who they are. And Shigaraki Tomura, fifth rank of the leader faction, or, well, mostly not leader faction, of the villain faction. This is where Cao Cao wanted his eyes, even if he managed to defeat Issei. And even though if he managed to, he would have been extremely hurt, but then have to fight against two of the other leaders. This is where, well, he then sees George as vice captain, right now on the ground, right now is getting threatened by a guy with dark black hair, and blue flames appearing in his hand, having bluish eyes and glaring at what's it called, George, having a guy with orange mask, black hair, black short hair, like shorter than the other guy, but of course having this like cloak around him that has clouds. And this is where, well, he's just there standing while one of his arms is mostly armless and just floating up in the wind. Just blowing up in the wind, but yeah. And then there's Matsu, who's literally drinking without a care in the world and laughing at George and how he basically pissed himself and other stuff. This is where, well, Cao Cao realized that his faction is no longer the most powerful. Well, supposedly the underrated faction, but still they were supposed to be the powerful because they had the sacred, well, true Longitis kind of spear he had, but it's destroyed in an instant. This is where Issei drops him to the ground. Issei said, you think that the sacred gear is destroyed. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that it is destroyed. That is not the case. Issei right now looks at the ground, grabs one of the pieces, mostly the piece of like the kind of spear, like a little piece that was the blade and other things. And this is where Issei scoffs and says, you think that this is destroyed? Then you don't know much about how sacred gears work, do you? You think that just because I destroy it doesn't mean it cannot be regen. This is where Issei closes his eyes. His hair is going white in an instant. This is where a white kind of ring appears on top of his head. And this is where, well, a white ring appears, but this is where his eyes. One of them becomes silverish, dulish, while the other one becomes red and has a cross, a white kind of like white cross. This is where, well, he then adds a little bit of his power, mostly using the golden cross that he has in his like chest that kind of glows, and of course a hand cross, mostly the golden cross that he has in his hand, and it glows. And this is where the Longitis, true Longitis, right now kind of started erupting in energy, a little piece, and this is where other pieces started building back up into that one piece, and right now it's making the blade, the spearhead, and then it starts making the, what's it called, staff in an instant. And this is where Issei then grabs it, right now swings it around, having a golden light around it. Issei said, wow, look at this. I managed to recreate it back. You're just too pathetic. You haven't understand anything about your Longitis. It might be one of the most powerful, but you don't understand it in such a basic level of understanding. Every weapon has emotions, and yet you don't understand your sacred gear at all, do you? It seems that this sacred gear is now mine. Even if I give it back to you, it will never, ever decide to trust you ever again. You know why? Because all you think about is if you say the chant name, you think it's the most powerful thing in this whole world and you can defeat anything. You rely on it too much. That's why it would never care about if you say the chant or not. It would never show you the true power of it no more. But with me, it will rather show me its true power. A golden brightish light appears into the longitis, but then disappears after a while. This is what, well, Issei says that is how you activate the true power of this longitis. Without even saying the chant name. This is where Cao Cao is seeing this. Is seeing how the sacred gear seems to already be bond with Issei. And fond with him exactly. This is where he then pulls out the other spear, the red spear he has in his left hand. And this is where Issei then activates its true kind of colory kind of aura. A red bloodless aura actually appears around it. And right now kind of glaring at, well, if it had eyes, it would have been glaring at what's it called, a murderous killer intent at, well, mostly Cao Cao. And just how it was used. So pathetic. He doesn't want a pathetic user. But seeing Issei, he's now much more fond of Issei. Issei said, this spear, even though it's not even yours, is from another pantheon and you managed to steal it. I guess it's much more fond of me now. This is where Issei is kind of spinning it in his hands. And this is where Issei almost stabs Cao Cao in the head, but just missed a couple inches off. But even though he missed, a little cut appears on his head. This is where Cao Cao won his eyes. Even though the spear was supposed to miss, a little bit of an aura spiked up and managed to make an invisible slash, cutting him in the head. This is where, well, Cao Cao can now see how the spear actually reacts towards him. This is where, well, Issei right now has both of the spears. He then makes him kind of be floating up in the kind of thin air. This is where Issei said, other than that, you, Cao Cao, the hero faction leader, is now under the control and rule, well, you're basically a prisoner towards well, not hero, towards a villain faction lead, mostly the villain faction society. Anyone that dare come for you in your rescue will be eliminated in the spot. And since your crimes of how much shit you have done, I guess it's only reasonable for the villain society to be the one to cause, well, I should say, bring justice. I guess you can say injustice. We would like to say much better. We're villains, not heroes. Well, other than that, this is where, well, Issei snaps his fingers and a kind of goldenish portal actually appears underneath what's it called, Cao Cao. Cao Cao says, no, you can't do this. I'm a hero. I'm a hero. This is where, well, Issei says, then I am a villain. Shut the hell up already. This is where golden chains actually appear right now, grabbing Cao Cao from the arm, but one of them, and wrapping around him. This is where Cao Cao says, you bastard, you can't. I'm a hero. I'm doing this for the great of humanity. I guess then we're doing this for the great of the cause of the end of the humanity, idiot. Be gone from my sight in an instant. This is where Cao Cao says, no! He's right now sent and teleported into somewhere else. This is where Issei says, pathetic bitch. This is where, well, Issei is right now kind of walking towards mostly the factions, or, well, the other faction, heiresses or whatever, and kind of just looks at them and say, fuck off. Literally just tell them to fuck off, flips him off, and doesn't give a damn. He then especially points to Arias to fuck off with his life, stop spying on him, or he's going to use the true longitis on that little fucking cat little bitch. And this is where, well, mostly Arias sees that Issei is not playing around. He doesn't care. Fucking, you dare attack him once, then he will not hesitate in sending the villain society on their ass. This is where, well, Issei is much more powerful than normal. His aura was spiked up pretty powerful. His hair was white. Even though there was no wind there, it was literally floating up in the air, like if he was angry enough with Rias' bullshit. This is where it goes back to being a dark black kind of brown hair, and this is where his eyes changes back to being normal. But of course they become grayish, and then they become back to his black golden brown eye color, but yeah. But other than that, we go into, well, everyone managing to go? Well, somehow, mostly what's it called, Issei walks up to the other villains and says, yo, so what are we gonna do? Go already? I already bring back the, what's it called, Cao Cao into the prison. Well, we also gonna bring that guy, the vice captain of the hero faction? This is where, well, they look at it and says, do we need to bring him? Not really. I don't really care about the others. You can kill them. I haven't really killed them, or just let them stay there. Sure, let's do it. But before they even try, a bluish, lightningish kind of color magic circle appears all around the heroes, and even George. But this is where Dobby says, no you don't! He blasts him with blue flames, burning George in an instant, but he managed got teleported. And this is where Dobby says, who the hell did that? This is where someone appears with kind of a yellowish, kind of orangey hair. Wait, let me... He has dark yellow hair, but it's kind of short. Has a red dot in the middle of his forehead. Has kind of these golden glasses and has kind of brownish eyes, but they're glowing a little bit bluish with lightning color. This is where, well, he's wearing kind of this, like, somewhat like if he was on the beach for a second, like a beach outfit. And this is where, well, he glares at the villains. This is where, well, Issei looks at him, but at a care in the world. Madara also, and even Shigaraki. This is where they scoff and say, so you must be Inara. That's who decide to help the hero faction. You know, for being a god, we should definitely kill you. They basically just kind of joke about it. This is where Indra right now sends a lightning strike towards all of them. And this is where Issei, if he knows he dodged, the others who are basically factions behind him would probably get hurt. And a war would happen, making the villain have to actually go into the war also. So of course he doesn't want the villain society to go into war yet. This is where Issei right now claps his hands. His hair goes white. A white ring appears. This is where, well, one of his eyes becomes red and the other one becomes grayish. Madara right now claps both his hands in an instant. And this is where he screams out, Susanoo! This is where, well, he screams out Susanoo. This is where 4 blades appear stabbing into the ground. Shigaraki says, air pressure cannon! This is where, well, giant air pressure, well, not air pressure cannon. He says, spikes don't, mostly he just stabs his ground into, mostly into the, what's it called, ground, and says, spike domain. This is where a bunch of spikes appear around everyone. This is where everyone winds their eyes. This is where Issei right now claps his hands and says, divine cross judgment, shield. This is where, well, not judgment, divine cross, shield. This is where, well, they all just tried to stop Indra's attack. Indra's attack in an instant, which it did stop it, and Indra right now scoff in angry annoyment. This is where, well, he was about to leave. Well, not leave, about to attack them back again, until a sword slash actually appears in his cheek in an instant. And it was none other than, well, someone with dark brown hair. And of course, having dark brown eyes and wearing a white outfit. This is where he has a sword and has a very strange, powerful aura towards him. This is where, well, Issei scoffs and says, it took you long enough, Yoshin Aizen. This is where Yoshin glares at Issei and says, shut up for a second. You must be Indra, pathetic weakling, disappear from my sight. He pushes what they call Indra away, mostly making a portal appear behind what's it called Indra, and of course teleport him to whatever site. Now of course, Aizen is not that powerful just yet. Even Issei wouldn't be as powerful to fight a god just yet. But of course, Madara and Shigaraki are pretty tired. Shigaraki did have to use a lot of force and energy to try to make sure that the barrier didn't go down. Of course, they do want to kill the factions behind the heiresses or whatever, but they don't do it because the reason why they still are not powerful enough to go against every single faction. So it's better to just protect them in an instant. This is where Madara scoffs and says, damn it, I'm still not as powerful as my used to be power. Damn it, Madara scoffs in annoyment. Toby, Dobby, and even what's it called, Montsweir were just there. Of course, where Toby, he was ready to just use Kamui to just teleport them all out of there. This is where Dobby was ready to just use his blue flames to do as a last ditch effort. And this is where Montsweir was ready to use all his national treasures to make a wall just powerful enough for Toby to just teleport them all of there out of there. This is where, well, they know that they're captains. Even though they're the most powerful, like, captains that they have, they still are not at their full basic power. Now, of course, this is where, well, Issei scoffs and says, so what are you doing here, Yoshin Aizen? This is where, well, Yoshin kind of looks at Issei and scoffs and says, well, you're quite pathetic. You couldn't even fight against a god. You know we are not at full power just yet. If I was at full power, I would have annihilated that fucking weakling. Issei said with such an angry tone. But then scoffs and says, whatever. Still, thanks for the fucking help. I guess. This is where, well, Aizen just says, whatever. It seems that you already sent Cao Cao towards the kind of jail system. Now, it's good enough that you sent him there because if Indra managed to get his hands on him, mostly Cao Cao will manage to get out of here. Now that we have him in prison, we can do a lot of stuff to him, like torture him, and get any information that we need from other pantheons. Exactly. Well, we should be leaving then. This is where, Issei right now makes a giant portal out of everyone, making a whitish portal, a whitish magic circle, teleporting everyone back to their regular location before any of this shit happened. This is where Maruyama was actually going straight towards Issei and says, "Wait, Issei!" This is where, she wanted to actually talk to him because she was winding her eyes and how mostly Issei actually made what's it called a very powerful magic circle actually appear around her, being actually much more powerful than normal. This is where, only around her, but this is where, no one else notices. But this is where, she notices, and this is where she wanted to talk about why he did that. This is where Issei, he is back at his house, or not even back at his house. He is back to the villain society. This is where, the villain society is somewhere very secret and located at. And it's kind of actually protected by the government. This is where, other than that, we go into everyone else. Everyone is kind of confused and shocked and dumbfounded if that was actually a true thing, or they just woke up because they felt like they just woke up. But yeah. This is where, Issei cannot erase all their memories. And even Issei won't be able to erase all their memories. So of course, he basically just put them in the state they were just asleep for a little bit and wake up to make them believe it's a dream. But yeah, now that what's it called, 4 leaders of what's it called the villain society might have got revealed if some of them are too stupid to know. But now out of that, they might have to become stronger. So of course Issei isn't the villain society right now walking. This is where, Issei is pretty hurt a little bit. Just a little bit because Indras actually lightning managed to break through his defense and actually hurting him. This is where, someone is right now on him to just heal him. Mostly one of his kind of, judges, because he does have judges. Mostly they all have different armies. Mostly Aizen has the Espadas, the Hollows, and Arancard, while Madara has Shinobis and other things, and the Akashis. This is where, Issei does have the judges and executes and other things, and even soldiers to actually help him, because they all have armies. But they don't bring them often, but they just have to train, because they know that they won't be as powerful as the other factions. This is where, for Shigaraki, he does have users of like quirk users. There are villains and other things, but yeah. But Shigaraki's 4th rank, I then mentioned the 5th rank is someone named Martian D. Teach. He does have pirates and he does have his crew, and his like vice captain is, that vice captain and original captain, but don't worry about that. Now 6th rank, I will mention that later, and 7th rank, I will give out a post in whoever you want it to be for the 7th rank leader. But other than that, I will end it off here, because yeah, I did it for 1 hour and 12 minutes. But yeah, other than that, bye, see you, and yeah.